What is going on, guys? My name is Emu, and as WWE 2K18 is approaching, I made a video the other day about the first screenshots that got released. Well, now it's time to dive in. Now, here's the thing. My WWE 2K18 wishlist may be a little late, because for those that don't know, most likely by now, all the features in the game are set. And a lot of these ideas may not end up in the game, but maybe for a future game down the road, or maybe they're already in and I don't know about them because I wasn't at the Dev Summit. So here are some of the things that I would like to see in game. Now, a lot of people think of big things like GM mode, which for those that know, back in the day, my channel on 07 and 08, GM mode was huge. Everybody seemed to love it. But at the same time, GM mode had its shortcomings. I would like to see a crossover between GM mode and universe mode, introducing more controls into universe mode to give you GM-like features, being able to do other promos, trophy dates, things like that to help rank up your superstars and help grow your shows without simply just being universe mode. More controls on the manager side to be able to not only hire and fire people, not just to edit superstars, but to be able to do it that way. Have something like a draft between the shows, so once you set up the shows, you can go down and have picks. I think that would be something that would keep universe mode intact, but it would bring you more control as the person running the universe mode to allow you a better experience, to allow you to play a little bit longer. You know, the cutscenes, which I know they unlock, I personally, if I could have story creator to kind of build my own, and that may be a little too long, and that may be more of a create a story feature, but for me to be able to introduce stories, to be able to go through and pick exactly which ones I want without having to necessarily unlock them, I think would be huge. Because one of my biggest frustrations is obviously you wait till the 1 week in universe mode, and then if you do it too late, you got to wait till the next pay-per-view, and then it builds, and then the matches are kind of like back to back to back. Now, they have introduced in the last couple years, you know, a little bit more variety in the match types, but for the most part, it's just one-on-one matches or variations of it leading up to the pay-per-view. With GM mode, it was pretty much the same thing, and that was one of the downfalls of General Manager mode, where if I was having a pay-per-view, unless I used one of my promo slots or my advertising slots to basically continue a rivalry so I didn't have to have a match, those rivalries could end and could become a problem. Now, you need to figure out a solution for Universe mode and GM mode to help branch that gap. Now, Universe mode is fun, and this is the first year that I haven't really done a Universe mode that went out past, a couple weeks. Usually every year I at least do it for a couple weeks. And this year I lost track of Universe mode. Not anything wrong with the game. For the most part, for me, WWE 2K17 is still the best wrestling simulation game of all time. I mean, literally yesterday I found myself, help me please, for some reason, on the big screen, not my recording monitor, because I have three 24-inch monitors on my desk. Normally, I would never play on a TV. I haven't played on a TV in forever. I hooked up my Xbox or my PS4 to the TV and I played on matches, creating epic matches. And one of them, which I hope you guys will get to see eventually, was John Cena versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. And I could not stop popping. I thought it was the best match, and I thought if these guys have this match down the road, they could get themselves over, and Roman Reigns and John Cena would look huge, bigger than they already are. So what are some things besides GM mode that I would actually like to see that I think they could realistically put in the video game? Well, for me, little things. For those that remember back in 2K14 when I was at the playtest, we were all throwing out ideas for what they should have in the future games. And especially WWE 2K15, when we were out there, I know Pulse was talking about doing moves where you make him groggy going into a finisher. So you hit a move, and then you could do a super kick. So groggy moves into finishers. Reversal sequences, so when you go for a finisher, it reverses, and then that guy goes into their finisher. So it's like if John Cena goes for the AA, and it's like flipped over and it reverses into the RKO from Randy Orton, for example. Things like that would make the gameplay simulation better, because let's be honest here. 2K really isn't, I don't think they're ever going to go away from a simulation-based game unless we get a remake of a game like Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, which those are the THQ licenses, so I don't even think they can. But for the most part, when you look at those games and what they were able to do, that was in an arcade setting. 2K series is simulation-based, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that because for a simulation game, it's one of the best. So things that I would like to see on my wish list are obviously things like that. Reversal sequences into finishers. Not only reversal sequences into finishers, I would also love to see the ability to, I think you would call it a skill or an ability, and it can only be triggered maybe once a match. And maybe it has to be done after you already have a finisher, but let's say you get hit with a finisher in a devastating match, right? John Cena, who just recently lost clean to Shinsuke Nakamura, has only lost clean to, I think the list had 10 to 15 people in his whole career that he's lost clean to, and Nakamura is now one of them. Well, when everybody was leading up to this match and they were trying to figure out how is John Cena going to lose clean, maybe Nakamura hit his finisher, Cena rolls out of the ring. So I would like to see in 2K18 in his ability, if you're near the ropes, or after you've already been hit with a finisher once and you used a resiliency, you can use once the ability to either burn a finisher or have a skill or an ability to roll out of the ring, not roll out and then stand up, because that looks really unrealistic. I want to have the ability to literally roll out and maybe trigger a mini game like the triple threat rollout, because that still is one of my best features. I'm glad I recommended that feature. Like 2K probably already had that idea in their head, but I remember at the playtest when I said triple threat match rollout, and the year after, I think, or the year after that, we had a triple threat match rollout, and I went, I gave that idea. So I'd like to see something like this, where if you're in a big match, like big match John versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Nakamura hits the Kinshasa, but you don't want to lose, you have John Cena trigger that. Instead of rope break, you have Cena just rolling out of the ring. Kind of like Kevin Owens getting hit with a finisher and then rolling out. It's pretty commonplace in the WWE, especially if you want to protect your finisher or protect your people, you have them roll out of the ring. So that's one of the big features. That's the way I'm kind of looking at all these wish lists, is that if they're going to stick with a simulation-based game, like I'm sure everybody wants to be like James Paulus and go back to the arcade style, being able to jump off Times Square, because the screenshots nowadays, with the graphics and the lighting. Could you imagine the lighting at Times Square doing a 450 frog splash YY no scope across the map from that building down on the person laying on Times Square in New York? Oh, that would be amazing. But for the most part, instead of having trainer bikes, unless you have a performance center mini mode where you guys can go in and pump weights with 2K, you can do things like that. Maybe you have a Mojo Rowley performance mode challenge where you go in there and you're able to do weights, you're able to do jump challenges, you're able to do all that. I don't necessarily see arcade stuff making its way back into the game. With that being said, I would like to see, no matter how buggy, a WWE 2K18 or 2K19 arcade mode. Basically, the game is sped up more, and maybe the animations. The one thing I worry about is the animations would look wonky. But unlike the sliders in-game, which you guys can turn off, chain wrestling, grappling, all that other stuff, I would like to see more of an arcade mode where you could speed up the moves. And like I said, this is probably where it's not going to happen because the amount of bugginess that could come from the moves, glitches, and things like that. But if you go back to the WWE 2K14 era, where you have more fast-paced matches, I think that would be cool to see. But at the same time, I love the simulation game so much, it's just the game modes that are currently missing from the game. Other things on my WWE 2K18 wish list, and it's a popular one, but I do understand the copyright with this, is the ability to import in MP3 songs. Now, here is the reason that I'm kind of against it and I'm kind of for it, because those of us that make YouTube content, especially those who make a living from it, maybe some not as much as others now because of WWE and YouTube's battle on what's friendly and what's advertiser friendly, I guess, is the ability to put in theme songs. Now, one of my biggest things is if I could put in royalty-free music, like let's say my superstars in a Call Universe mode have royalty-free songs that I know aren't going to get copyright strike, but I want to put them in. Yeah, I could put them in editing, or if I was able to import, copyright, royalty-free songs into the game, that would be cool. Now, I think there is a liability for everybody to be able to upload copyrighted music, and then I don't know if that could necessarily get 2K in trouble, but that's one of the things I do worry about. Like you all of a sudden put in Little John Get Crunk, or any of the songs Get Low as a theme song. I mean, once you start putting in that kind of music, I see red flags there. But the ability to put in music, whether it's just to update current WWE music. So let's say that you could take the WWE catalog and upload it into the game. So maybe that 2K, kind of like on a back end, like with NBA 2K TV, where they do, updates or roster updates, maybe you could have theme song updates. So this is one of the features, wish list that I would hope to have eventually, which it kind of like takes away the reason to buy the next game, except for features, is the ability to, say a superstar, like right now, we have Baron Corbin getting a new theme song. We have Jason Jordan getting a new theme song. We have Seth Rollins, burn it down, addition to his theme song. The ability to just have WWE licensed tracks updated in-game would be cool. So let's say a new superstar debuts, you have a call, and that superstar is on the roster, whether it's Raw or SmackDown or NXT, that theme song, through a catalog of WWE, whether it's CFO, Money, or whether it's, Jim Johnson or any of those other artists that exclusively work with WWE, the ability to bring in those songs from a catalog would be cool. Now, like I said, all the songs are licensed, but if you already have Jim Johnson and CFO on the payroll, being able to use those new songs they create throughout the year to be able to update your superstar would be huge. So maybe we can't upload whatever songs we want or copyrighted songs or anything that goes along those lines, but the ability to put in WWE theme songs and things that are already, in the WWE universe. Because I know there is some hesitation to putting in somebody in NXT because NXT is a working ground, whether you change characters, like Patrick Clark became Velveteen Dream. What happens if you put Patrick Clark's theme song in and he's now the Velveteen Dream? Well, that's why NXT usually, in the past games, they put in the big superstars, Samoa Joe, Nia Jax, people that Shinsuke Nakamura that, are going to get called up. Their character is pretty much finalized for the most part. So I think if you're going to put in a big roster of NXT people, which there is some legit worry there, the ability to have their music be updated would be cool. So maybe, I don't want to call it DLC, maybe you could have a WWE 2K18 music pack, where throughout the year, 3 times a year, you can get updated theme songs to be able to import into your superstar. So let's call it a Jim Johnson or CFO music pack. So you can have old theme songs, new songs come in. I think that would be cool, just me personally. Then let's move on to one of the things I've been requesting now for 5 years. A WWE 2K18 Ref DLC pack. Last year and the year before, they did introduce more versions of referees. So you have standard referee, you have Japanese referee, you have pretty much the same referee in different attires, but I want to see the referee DLC pack. Jason Ayers was in there, you had Robinson in there. I wanted to get everybody in there. I want to, Dan, I want to get the WWE referees in there so I can recreate some of this most realistic stuff. In Universe Mode, I want to be able to have all the referees that are in WWE. Maybe for a heel referee, we bring in Scott, and then he's the guy that comes out and screws us over and tries to help Triple H. I don't know. But to have multiple referees, especially different models, I think would be huge. And like I've said for the past 4 years, since 2K14, I would pay for a referee DLC pack. Now, I don't know how many other people would be willing to pay for a referee DLC pack, but me personally, I totally would. This is obviously a big one. If you've been watching my channel, story creator. 2K17 started us down that trend with video editor to be able to go in there and make your own video, but the problem was you had to render it out, you had to do all this other stuff that degraded the quality, it was not full screen. I would like the ability to have story creator from the past. Now, the one thing I will say is up until 2K14, a lot of those cutscenes were the exact same. So even though I built my channel primarily on stories, custom stories especially, WWE 12, 13, and 2K14, I did understand that a lot of those same cutscenes were in from 07 and 08 and never really got updated. I kind of understood that once they went to 2K15, they would have to re-motion capture all that stuff if they were ever going to have more scenes. Now with the addition of backstage fighting and, fighting behind the arena and different places all throughout the arena, you have these options for new cutscenes to be made. Now, I don't know what the priority is if you're shipping a yearly title to be able to create or film or motion capture other scenes, but for me personally, if I'm able to go in and do a story creator, story mode, maybe not a full-fledged one, but the ability to not even have to render out or full screen preview it at least in full quality, that would be big for me personally. Because I'm the kind of person that wants to film machinima. I want to film stories. I want to film all this other stuff. That also relates into my biggest feature request from last year is the ability to have a highlight reel. And they gave us highlight reel last year. And my man Jinx over at 2K said they ran out of time last year, so you weren't able to have hide panel. For those that know, NBA 2K, which is, Visual Concepts in 2K, have one of the best cameras in-game afterwards. If you've ever seen Shady's video, shout out Shady, you got to watch his NBA Sims. I want to do that within WWE. Now, you can do it, and there's a lot of great content creators here on YouTube that have found ways to do it, but the ability to hide the panel and be able to blur out the background or have a free camera and all that other stuff really helps bring a level to the game. Now, last year they said most likely it would be in this year. I have no knowledge whether or not it's going to be in the game, but in Highlight Reel, I'd like to be able to hide the panel and have more controls similar to NBA's camera, because NBA's camera is amazing. Now, the dream goal would be to have a director's mode, and this is my big wish list item, where if you don't have just story creator, I would like to have that camera system from Rockstar. It's a sister company, parent company, whatever. Take-Two has one of the best filming cameras known to man, and GTA when it comes to machinima. If you've never seen my machinima, you have to go see my John Cena Agent 16 machinima I made, is to have the Rockstar camera or director mode in-game. So in a director mode for WWE 2K18 or 2K19, you could go in and you can control the kickouts. I've requested this for a couple years, where instead of the cancel button, you could have a key combination when you're pinning to have a 2.9, a 2. That would probably be more for the PC version, where I could just tap a button that's not limited to the controls. but I could tap like L on my keyboard, and then it would be like a 2.9 kick out. It'd be a kick out at 1. It would be a kick out at 2. More options for those people that are creating videos. But then you look at the size of the market of people that would actually use that, you don't know. But the ability to be able to choose when an opponent kicks out, or if they kick out at all, would be huge. Let's say you start off a match, boom, and you have the ability to, and this is also a wish list item, to be able to put on finishers how many ever I wanted to start, to be able to run in, hit a finisher, pin them, and you can choose whether or not they're able to kick out or not. Because if you're making a simulation-based game, which 2K obviously is, more controls like that will help it make it a lot more realistic and allow for a better gameplay experience for those people that, want squash matches or things like that. So that's one of my big wish list items. The ability to have somewhat of a director mode or some sort of a mode where I can control the kickouts, I can control, maybe there's like a get out of the ring button or something along those lines. Like I said, it would probably have to be the PC version just for the mapping of the controls. But if you were able to do that to have more control, like let's say, it's really crazy to think about, but let's say you're on computer and you're going to commercial break in universe mode. So you have a guy roll out of the ring and kind of walk around and pace around. It's like, we'll be back on Monday Night Raw. Things like that, I think, would help elevate the simulation-based game to the next level. So those are just some of my ideas for WWE 2K18 or 2K19 or 2K20 down the line. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What are some much needed features that you would like to see in the game, or some features you think that, maybe never in, but they're kind of like on your super high bucket list? Story creator, please. That's all I'm asking for. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to let your opinions known in the comment section below. If you want to, you can go over to the forums on 2K. You can tweet them at WWE Games. Make sure to check out WWE Games Dev, WWE 2K Dev on YouTube to get the updates there. And then we will see you at SummerSlam, bringing you exclusive news and details when we're able to from the event. Until next time, it's your boy, Tubby Moon. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all later.